What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the LFC Transfer Room stream. We are live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Welcome to the stream. We're talking about transfers today. I'm joined by Chedu and Ian. How are we, gents?
Doing well. Hanging in there.
Fantastic, Chris. Fantastic.
Comments on the thumbnail below and the title. That's what we love to see. Any sort of stuff you want us to discuss as well. We're going to be discussing the apparent incomings coming into Liverpool and outgoings as well, which there probably will be more of in the coming weeks. We'll start with the incomings. So we'll start positive. Houssem always comes around at the moment, or it seems so anyway. What do we think of him, and will he fit in? We'll start with you, Chedu.
I'll be honest, it's always been a player that I've had my eye on for years now. Honestly, thought he was set to join Arsenal at one point, but of course, no one wants to join Arsenal. And seeing that he's available for 20 million, and apparently every other midfielder we've wanted just won't come, I think he would be a really great addition to the team. You know, young player, got quite a good amount of potential, the kind of player that Klopp can mold into a superstar. Honestly, Liverpool and Lyon don't really have a really good relationship after the entire Fekir transfer that never happened. But, you know, if we can overcome that, then I think that would be a really good move for us.
100%, especially with all the Fekir Friday stuff. I think, you know, maybe we'd have to pay a little bit of a premium. But Ian, do you think that he'd be a good addition to our midfield?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's somebody we've tracked for a few years, and there was a lot of buzz around it, I would say about 2 years ago, starting 2 years ago. I mean, in terms of production, he's fairly consistent as well. I'd seen some rumors or some tweets saying his production's down. He's kind of fallen off a bit, but his 2018-2019 campaign was 7 goals, 7 assists, and last season was 7 goals and 3 assists. So, you know, 10 goal contributions for a midfielder is pretty good in my book. So I think it's somebody that could come in. Again, like Chedu said, it's 23 years old. He's a young player, can come in and fit the bill for some time. So I'd be happy with the signing. Depending on price, I haven't seen any rumored prices thrown out there, but somebody I would absolutely want to take a look at for sure.
We've seen a lot of players sign for this sort of profile, like Jota's 24 now, and Konate, and these players have been brought in. Do you think he might be another part of a new generation, Ched?
Oh, definitely. Looking at things, let's be honest. Klopp is going to leave at the end of this contract. That's what he has planned. He wants to leave, take a year off, and see if he still wants to coach. So I think Jota was really the start of him trying to prepare the next Liverpool for whoever comes after him, whether it's Pep, whether it's Gerrard, whether it's anyone. So again, Konate, Jota, 2 really young players, and going into midfield too, that's probably what he wants to look for. And if we look at the targets that we've been linked with in midfield, they're usually younger, without counting Saul, of course. So I fully think that this is the new generation, letting Ginny go to bring in a younger midfielder, kind of like him setting up again, just how he did in Dortmund, I believe, setting up the next big team for whoever comes in.
Definitely. We'll talk more about Renato Sanchez recently. We have been talking about it, but we will talk more about him soon. But in terms of, again, the option of Aouar, do you think he'd be a viable replacement for Wijnaldum, maybe, Ian?
I think so. I think in terms of the pressing ability, right, I think that's something that Klopp is pretty good at getting out of midfielders, right? If he's got the right attitude to come in, I trust Klopp to kind of look into that with Lyon and to see if that's there. But based off of what I've seen, I think he'll even be able to provide a little bit more going forward. So I don't know if he's a direct replacement, right? But somebody that can kind of fit that bill while also kind of getting a bit more forward, which is something I really want to see more out of the midfield and not rely on the front three so much.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one. Matty loves to bring this up in the streams. Ruben Neves, absolutely quality player. But in terms of his last couple of seasons, as we say, he's not really fit the bill for Wolves, but he is still only 24. What are we saying, Ched?
Honestly, if you put it like that, then it's the same thing as why should we go for Renato Sanchez, looking at his previous seasons, you know? But if we look potential-wise, both Ruben and Renato, fantastic players. And I'll be honest, I've been a Ruben fan for quite a while as well. looking towards the future, it's like I believe in one of the first videos I made, which was Liverpool in 2025, I did predict Ruben to be part of our midfield. So honestly, would love to have him too. I think he's a fantastic player, depending on how much it is. Probably would cost more than our, looking at things, the Premier League tax more than anything else. But either our or Ruben, I'd be happy with either, really.
I'll pose this to you now, Ian. Neves, Aouar, or Sanchez? Take them right now. Which one would you take?
That's tough because you got to break it down this way, right? First of all, the fact that Ruben Neves is 24 is blowing my mind because it's somebody that I feel like has just been around forever. And I was reading something the other day where it's like, Hendo, for example, is getting older, right? He's only got so many years left in him. And I like Ruben Neves because when you watch Wolves and you watch him play, he seems to be the leader of the midfield, right? He's a vocal guy, somebody that kind of comes across like a captain. I actually don't know if he does captain the side or not for Wolves, but that's somebody out of the three there that I think is the least amount of risk and somebody that's Premier League proven, can come in and fit the bill. So out of the three, I think that's probably who I would go with. But I think, like we've mentioned, I think he's going to be a little bit more expensive than the other two for those reasons. So ideally, that's who I would go with.
Another player who we've been linked with is Nicola Barela of Inter Milan. Now, this one, we just want to put it out there. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah, no chance.
If it does happen, then I tell you what, I'll fulfill Jack's promise for him.
Running naked down the street?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But yeah, we'll talk about like prospects though. If we did sign Nicola Barela, what could he offer?
Honestly, I think he'd be the dream signing right now. I think everyone knew about him, about his talent before the Euros. I think everyone knew that he was quite a good player. But I think at the Euros, he showed up like no one ever thought he would. I mean, helped his team go all the way to winning the Euros at the end. Phenomenal signing would be, but the amount of money would be just too much for FSG. Like 80 million, I believe it was rumored, something like that. And not only the price, but Inter don't really want to sell either. So for FSG to put out more than £2 for a player, it's that's hard on its own. Putting 80 is now impossible. Like that's like Van Dijk, Alisson, and Naby are the only ones that they have actually put big money for. But it's just something that I don't really see happening, especially. And I'll be honest, I kind of think that Naby scared them off a little bit from paying too much for players after seeing what happened with them. I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually a thing. So just can't see Barela joining. If he would join, perfect. I think that would be like a star midfielder for the next God knows how many years. But just can't see it happening right now.
I mean, Andy's technically, I think just really, really soon he's going to be named Inter Milan captain as well, according to Nima. So it's very, very unlikely that he'll be signing. In terms of this one, would you think, Ian, that, if it were to happen, he'd be like the first name on the team sheet?
You know what? I feel like it's one of those players that would probably have to coming from another league, and would kind of have that segue process into the side. And quite honestly, I just don't know how you either get Hendo, who's not going to get moved out of the side, right? Captain. Fabinho's crucial to the side, and Thiago's obviously just come in, and we've seen what he can do when Hendo and Fab are in the side. So quite honestly, I'd find it hard to believe that he would just get on the team sheet right off the bat. But I think, again, those midfielders are getting older, right? And that would be such a signing in order to start planning for the future, like we've been talking about. But I think it was like 60 million reported, and I don't even think that's close to what it would actually take to get him over.
No, absolutely.
Honestly, the only reason, we usually don't just put the new players right into the team sheet right away. I don't expect that to happen with Konate either. I think throughout time he's gonna become the starter next to Van Dijk. But the only time we've actually seen it's with Thiago, really, and that's understandable. I mean, when he joined, he was 30? I think he was when he joined, 30. Already proven midfielder for Bayern, has won everything, been there and done it all. So it's understandable for a player like him to just come in and instantly start. Unlike a player like Barela, who is relatively new to the scene, and although he does have that amazing potential, although he has been great the last season in the Euros, he's not proven because of course one season. We've seen it time and time again where a player just has an amazing season, someone buys him, next season flops. So wouldn't be an instant starter, but I think he would be there after a few months in the team at the very least.
I've seen a couple of comments for this. Cade Gordon's only just made his under-23s debut. I think you slow down a little bit, lads. He's only 16 years old.
I mean, listen. I think at times trying young players in the main squad. So if you have the right player, it can work out. You know, you look over at United with Greenwood. You look over at City with Foden. You know, these kind of players. Of course, us with Kurtis Jones and Harvey Elliott right now, as things are looking into the future. Of course, I mean, and it's the kind of thing where like most Liverpool fans just say, "Oh, we got to sign players." Players from our academy, not really going to happen. But you look at our academy, you know, Mosa, who just signed a new deal. You got Harvey, you got Kurtis, you got Leighton Stewart, you got Cade Gordon, a great group of players that I think are going to, you know, take Liverpool to the next level whenever they're ready, whenever they achieve their prime. I think they're going to be crucial for the side in the future. But someone like Cade Gordon, I can't see him really featuring in the first team next season unless it's something like a Carabao Cup game or something like that. That's probably what's going to happen if he does appear in the first team. But in a league game, Champions League, only reason why it happened last season with the likes of Leighton Clarkson and Reece Williams and Nat Phillips was because of injury. So unless we go through like a massive injury crisis in midfield, you probably won't see Cade Gordon playing for us.
No, can't see it at all. Jude Bellingham, Ian.
Yes, yes, please.
It's class, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I take him, but what will it cost, right? You've got somebody who's come onto the scene and proven instantly at Dortmund that he can play at a top level. He's gotten into the England side, right? Didn't get a ton of minutes, but the fact that he's there, right, says a lot for such a young lad. So I would absolutely take him. What that fee would be for a player that young with that much quality, especially from Dortmund. We've seen some of the fees coming out of Dortmund for their young players. They're typically astronomical because they do have amazing players. So somebody I would like to see in the side. He's taller too, a bit bigger as well, which I like. But who knows? To be seen, right?
Well, we need to rely on Agent Jordan to chat him up a little bit more. Huh?
Right.
That's the main thing. That's the main thing. Talking more on players who are still here. Is it all or nothing for Naby Keita?
Yes.
We all love to see it. We all love to see him playing well. When he is fit, he is one of our best players, in my opinion. But is this the final hurrah for Naby Keita if he can?
Yes, it has
to be.
If he doesn't show up this season, there's no way we can keep him. It's been, listen, 60 million for him. Understandable at the time. You know, you look at him at Leipzig, he was destroying the Bundesliga. He was fantastic. And I'll say it a trillion times if I need to. Naby Keita, before getting injured, a fully fit Naby Keita, probably one of the best technical players in midfield in the world. And it's just a shame that after that game against Barcelona, it's just been injury after injury after injury for a player that's so talented. Yes, he's still young. Yes, he still has potential. But the problem is, what's this? His fourth season with us? Fourth season? Am I right there?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
4 seasons without showing up at the start of his first. Yeah, but after that, hasn't really shown anything. Hasn't really proved the 60 million that we paid for him. And, you know, it's just make or break at this point. I thought it was going to be last we're going to sell him this one. But I'd say if at the end of this season he still hasn't shown up, we have to let him go. We have to move on.
I would say I would agree, but I think there's one thing about this season that's a little bit different with Naby and why I have a little bit of hope, right? I think this is the first time, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the first time in a couple of seasons that he's had a full offseason and preseason training with the squad, rehabilitating, getting back up to speed. I think it's been extremely hard for him to find his feet and find his rhythm. Given that he's been coming during the season, he's been hurt. He'll come in and play a couple of games, then he gets a knock, right? So I've seen him post some pictures on Instagram. Looks like he's training, weightlifting. He looks strong. He looks good. He looks lean. So I've got hope for him. But after this season, if something does happen again, I think we absolutely have to just cut our losses, sell him for. It would be horribly sad, but 25, 30 mil is, I think, because somebody's gonna have to take a huge gamble on him, right? So I think I have hope, but to be seen.
He is that good, though, that he's worth waiting on. I genuinely think he's probably the last season, obviously, but I really hope it is his season. Talking of another lad, we've seen big pictures of Taiwo Awoniyi. I know he was standing next to lads who are about 5'7", so he's always going to look a little bit big. It's like what I'd done a night out, boys. But yeah, Taiwo Awoniyi, he looks the part, and he had a good start for Union Berlin last season, and he's finally got his work permit. Is he an option, Ian?
No.
I don't know if he's an option, right? But I saw the pictures and his thighs are massive, like as big as Mane's like entire upper body. But it's somebody that I think we deserve to at least possibly give him preseason, right? Give him a chance to show what he can do, given that he's clearly waited a long time to get that work permit. It's finally here. I don't know if it's a Liverpool thing to just ship him off now that he has it. So give him the preseason, see how he does. I saw like one of those stat charts the other day on Twitter for his time in the Bundesliga, and he creates a lot, but he doesn't score goals or take a whole lot of shots, which is something that I don't know if we really want out of somebody.
We already have that in Firmino.
Exactly, and we've seen how that's been working out recently, right? So I don't know, but I'm totally open to giving him the opportunity in preseason to show his quality.
Why not, eh, Chad?
Yeah.
I have two things to say about this. First one is I've seen a lot of people like, oh, we should keep him. Look at him. I swear that none of them have ever seen him play. They just seen the pictures of him next to Mane and the others and just like, wow, big, keep him. But I think I agree with Ian there. I think we should give him a shot in a preseason, not instantly throw him out. See what he can do, Perhaps he can show that he's better than Origi. Not really that hard, but if he can do it, then happily keep him as a number 2. But I think just give him a chance, see what he does. A bit weirded out that he has the number 2. Don't really know why.
It's because he had it on his shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he won't have it. He won't have it, surely.
Last season, Grealish had number 6 in preseason. So realistically, it's a preseason number doesn't mean too much. Still looks a little bit weird though.
I want to address this. The last time we had a plan B option to cross was Ricky Lambert, was it not? So I don't want to go anywhere near that again, or Benteke. He was a plan A option, but yeah, I don't think it's that important to have that plan B. Maybe a plan B in another like tactics or whatever. Other things. When Alexander Isak would be really, really interesting, don't you think? I think he's so good. Again, though, what would he cost?
He's just signed a contract as well, hasn't he?
Yep, that was what I was about to say. Like before he signed the contract, there were the rumors that we could go for him instead of Malin, and I was really excited. But then just a few days later, he signs a new contract with Real Sociedad. So really, it's a shame. Not a player that we're gonna get this season. Not a player that we're gonna get next season either. I think if we're ever gonna get him, probably 2023, 2024, something like that. Fantastic player though. I would like to see how he develops. Of course, talented, but just like Barela, need to see more of him before we can actually pay big money for him, because God knows what's going to happen.
Right, boys, we're on to Nat Phillips, a player who we actually did a dedicated stream, keep or sell on. Go and check that out on the LFC Transfer YouTube channel. But we're just going to have a chat about him now. If he stays, what would your feelings be? We'll start with you, Ian.
If he stays, I'm happy, because I think as a safety net, right, he's somebody who can come in, has proven he can fill a gap there and do a job, right? But if I'm being honest, if I'm Nat Phillips, I want to go play some football somewhere regularly, and I think he's earned that. And I think I've seen some tweets coming out that the club would be happy to let him walk if that's what he wants. So I think Nat Phillips right now is kind of looking for a way out to go get some regular time football. And I think with bringing in Konate, and now that the boys have rehabbed and seem to be doing very well in some of the preseason videos I've seen, I think it's somebody that I'd like to see just go and play football.
Yeah, and with Burnley's new owners as well, I think he's very much suited to Dyche football. Unreally.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the most Burnley signing ever.
Oh yeah, I think he's better than people give him credit for. That.
I agree.
Oh, 100%. Listen. It's the Liverpool tax. Any Liverpool player is instantly shit because they play for Liverpool. But when you look at him, listen, I'll say it and I'll say it again. I think he had a fair shot at being in the England squad for the Euros. I genuinely think he did that well. compared to like some other players that were there. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, fair enough. Potentially. I'm not going to say I agree with you, but we move on. And don't forget, boys, as well. England, we need homegrown players as well, so maybe that may be a factor in Nat Phillips staying. Who knows? But moving on, another homegrown player who's set to leave, Harry Wilson. Liverpool have apparently set an asking price of £10 million. I think it's about time, Ched.
I'll be the first to say it. He should have been gone a long time ago. And you know, part of the problem in last season, they wanted 20 million for him. Who in their right mind was going to pay 20 million for Harry Wilson right now? Well, I mean, last year, but still, 10 million. I think that's a fair amount, probably. I think first offer that comes in, just tell him. I'm pretty sure he also wants to leave, seeing how he's been treated recently. Welsh is homegrown. Yeah, and I think it's the perfect time to just offload some of the French players, some of the academy players that are realistically not going to make it, like a certain Woodburn. But Harry Wilson, I think it's time for him to go.
Yeah, Ian, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. But it's kind of upsetting, though, because if you look at his loan spell, I think it was Bournemouth a couple seasons back, he was scoring screamers, scoring a free kick every match, scored against United, I believe. And I think that would have been the time to cash in. And I think you could have got closer to 20. We've seen Michael Edwards do a masterclass with Dominic Solanke and some of these other players.
Brewster.
So, Ryan Brewster as well for like 25.
I'll tell you what, Brewster will be back. I
hope
so. He's gonna show up in the championship. That's for sure.
Yeah. So I hope he does. But in terms of Harry Wilson, I mean, at this point, we've loaned him out I think 3 seasons straight, something like that. So yeah, I think it's just time. Even if it's 8 or 10, just get him off the books and let's move on.
Yeah. Jordan Shaqiri. I saw the very first comment in the actual stream was about Shaq. So I hope you're still here, Ray. But talking about Shaqiri, if we get a £15 million offer from Lazio, are we saying yes or no? I see a no, Ian.
Yes.
I'm saying no all day. Here's the thing that it ultimately comes down to, what is Shaqiri's mindset on it, right? Does Shaqiri want to go play first team football and be a regular starter, which I think he can do? Or is he happy with being more of a regular guy to come off the bench or start some games with AFCON and things like that this season? So personally, I think he's proved his quality in the Euros. He looked class. And somebody that brings something off the bench that's completely different, right? Good with the ball at his feet, creative. He's pacey as well. So it's somebody I want to keep for 15 million. I don't think it's enough, especially after his Euros performance. So if you're going to sell Harry Wilson for 10 and Shaqiri for 15, it just feels a bit off. So I don't know.
It's for the vibes, man. It's for the vibes.
Yeah, it's for the vibes.
In terms of Felipe Anderson as well, he's just gone to Lazio. Maybe that will put a little bit of a spanner in the works for them, Chedu.
Listen, I said this last season. I'll say it again. Love Shaq. He's got to go. Apparently, 12 million. Lazio made a bid for 12 million plus add-ons for Shaqiri. Apparently, we won 15 for him. I would be on the stay side a little bit, but looking at Harvey Elliott, looking at his new contract, I think they planned on having him as Salah's number 2. And looking at that, I think even looking at both Shaq and Harvey, Shaq is the more proven, probably the better player right now, but Harvey's talent, working under Salah, I think he would be the better number 2. But it all depends on what happens with Harvey. If he stays as a squad player, we can happily keep Shaq. If he goes on loan, then perhaps it's time to sell him and move on. And, Ian talked about the Euros. He proved himself. Same time, upped his price tag a little bit. So I think that could also help on the selling side. But again, I think it all depends on whatever Liverpool has planned with Harvey Elliott.
I think with Shaq, he's one of these players who, if he does go, I won't mind, and if he stays, I won't mind. It's be one of those. Because I think he provides something, whatever. Like, he's got such a different vibe about him. But he's not ever going to be nailed on first team. There might be a certain phase where he plays 3 or 4 games, but if he stays, he stays. If he goes, he goes. In my opinion, I see you trying to sneak Lucas Leiva in there, Dan.
Goated player.
We love, we love Lucas, but he doesn't belong in there.
What do you mean? He's the best midfielder they have.
So moving on, Nico Williams is another one. I've seen a couple of comments about Nico. In terms of his development, I've made my opinion on this very clear on previous streams. But Ian, are you Nico? Do you think it's another one who should stay, or do you think he should go and get some first team minutes?
Yeah, I don't think it's somebody that should stay, Chris. I know that probably breaks your heart, but I just think we've seen him playing games, and he almost reminds me of a Lovren a little bit, in the sense that he seems like he's just inconsistent. One match he might show up, but he seems like he's got a mistake in him always. And I think a lot of that's due to the fact that he hasn't played a whole lot of first team football, right, in the last couple of years. So sell him, I don't know. I think I'd prefer to loan him out and get him some minutes somewhere else. But I think we just need, quite honestly, I know there was rumors, and I can't remember the kid's name, of one of the academy players coming in to fill that backup right back role.
Yeah, Connor Bradley.
Bradley, exactly. And I personally feel like we need to do what we did with Tsimikas and go out and get somebody and to kind of have a proper backup. But who knows?
Yeah. Ched?
Fun enough, I actually wrote an article a few days ago, came out about exactly who should go. And one of them was Nico Williams. It's the kind of thing where when Kiana Hoover got sold, questions were asked because, you put Kiana with Nico. Kiana looked like the better player of the two, the one with more potential. Yeah. But I fully backed Nico. I was like, you know what? You got my support. I want to see what you can do. I believe in you. Looking now, I'm like, not so sure anymore. Maybe it's time to let him move on. And Konate coming in, wherever Trent can't really play, we don't really have to go look for a right back right away. We have Gomez who can step on the right back role, especially now that Konate's in. We've even got, in the worst case scenario, where every other right back option is out. Fabinho can play right back. He used to play right back for Monaco. But I'd honestly feel more comfortable with Fabinho, Milner, or Gomez as the right back instead of Nico Williams at this point in time. Maybe not sell him. Maybe alone.
I'm with Chris on this one.
I don't think I don't think he's good enough to be a number 2 right now.
Here's the issue. Here's the issue with that, in my opinion, right? You look at, I'm quite honestly sick and tired of the fill players that can do all multiple positions and just kind of stick them in, have to do a job. I think we're too good to have that, right? You look at some of the other clubs, and I know financially it's not the same, right? But they're going out and getting proper backups because we're playing more football than ever. Right, and I want somebody who can come in and do what Trent does. Nico can at least go up the wing and put a decent cross in. Right, I'm not so confident in some of the other players that we have playing that exact kind of role. So I don't know, but I want somebody else.
No, I definitely do agree with having a proper backup. It's just looking at us financially, it's something that's probably not viable, because right now, I mean, Fabrizio said it. We're most focused on an attacker than a midfielder. And realistically, looking at the amount of money we have, unless we can somehow get enough money with the outings, then we could probably get a right back. But
I agree.
Chris, stop the Ox propaganda. He's no.
Ox is playing right back, false 9 next season. Let's go. I think Nico Williams got a real hard time of it. Like, any mistake he's made has been so magnified on by fans, and it's been like anyone else makes a mistake, like say for example, I don't know, Thiago or Virgil or Joe Gomez, it gets magnified on. It doesn't get as magnified on as much as if Nico Williams makes a mistake, and I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because he's competing against a Trent Alexander-Arnold or whatever, but I think he's good enough personally, boys. I know it's a controversial opinion, but I genuinely think he's good enough to play a part. But I think Oxlade-Chamberlain again. Oxlade-Chamberlain is coming up. It's coming up, boys. Do we see that, boys? Do we see it happening?
Move on to the next player, please. Just move on to the next player. Just move on.
Saul.
It's interesting.
I want him.
Loads.
I want him.
Loads.
I want him.
Do we think
Chris, wait. Chris who?
Saul.
Saul who? There's a lot of Sauls in this world.
Saul from Atletico, man. I'm not saying his surname, bro. But yeah, do we think it's going to happen, Chedu? And if so, when and why?
I'm really on the fence here because a lot of sources are saying yes, he's gonna go to Barca. A lot of sources are saying no. It looks like he doesn't want to go to Barca. And a video came out actually of him, like saying they're kicking me out of here, man. So, honestly, I'd love to have him, but apparently, it's only a matter of time for Griezmann to return to Atleti. Apparently, Saul going the other way, and of course, Atleti do have the upper ground in terms because Saul is a player that's going to be on his way out no matter what. Rumors are if he doesn't go to Barca, they have Liverpool and Chelsea are both lined up to go for him. While Barca are in a position where they need to let Griezmann go. But then we look at other rumors. Apparently, Chelsea want Griezmann. I know it's a whole mess. This entire Griezmann Saul thing. But I said it to the group chat. Had Gini gone to Barca, we wouldn't be in this entire mess. Saul would have probably been announced as a Liverpool player by now. But one of the Genie trickeries before he leaves us forever. But Barcelona in a position where they have to let Griezmann go. I think sooner or later they're going to be like, all right, just Griezmann, Saul, straight swap. We won't ask for money. We won't ask for another player. Just do that because they need to let Griezmann go. And if that eventually happens, then there's no chance for us to get him. Yes, Saul, his agent and his entourage are all waiting for a Premier League offer. That's what the rumors are. If he really has his heart set on a Premier League move, then it doesn't matter what Barca or Atleti do. He's not gonna turn to Barca. In that case, if he really does want a Premier League move, I can see him coming to us. But if he's on the fence about it, then he's definitely gonna go to Barca.
Yeah, it'd be a bit sad, wouldn't it, Ian? If all of these rumors are happening and then eventually he went out to Barcelona.
Quite honestly, I prefer several of the other midfielders we've been rumored with over Saul, and there's a couple reasons why that kind of bother me a bit. One, wages are massive, and I think re-signing players to new contracts in our club is something that's been of high importance recently. And if we come in and he's wants bigger wages than some of our top earners, then we've got to adjust and more negotiations. I think that gets messy. Kind of want to stay away from that. If he's willing to take a massive pay cut, I'll take him, but he's also 27, right? So when we start thinking about age and planning for the future, if we keep signing some of these older players that are 27, 28, right, I think that's going to catch up quick. And it's something that concerns me a bit. And the last piece that I would say from Saul's point of view is if he goes to Barca, I think he gets more minutes and he plays. He's got a greater chance to play. If he comes to Liverpool, he's not the first name on the team sheet or remotely close. And I don't know if he gets a whole lot of starts during the season either. So from his point of view, I'm maybe leaning towards Barca and staying in Spain for that reason, but that would be my take on it. I
mean, we probably need to take a pay cut for Barca too. I think this because the Barca are just in the mud. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Barca actually accepted looking at how much Griezmann is taking away from them. Unreal. But yeah.
Unreal. Yeah.
It would be sick. Anyway, we're going to end the stream there. I think it's been a good fun. Thank you very much, Chedu and Ian, for joining us. And thank you very much for all the interaction. Make sure you go subscribe to the LFC Transfer YouTube channel and check out the 1,000 subscriber special that went out today. It is an absolute banger. So go check it out right now. I would highly recommend it. So thank you very much.
Before you end it, to everyone watching right now, subscribe to the LFC Transfer YouTube channel. 58% of you aren't subscribed. That's not very cash money. So press that red button, like, comment, turn the bell on, all the good stuff. See you guys on the next one.
I really want to see Chedu ASMR.
You know what? 1,500 subscribers. I'll do ASMR. I'll do a 1-hour ASMR video.
And also make sure to keep an eye out on Chedu's haircut video coming soon.
Coming soon.
Anyway, we'll catch you in the next one. See you later.
Peace.